How do I look? Scruffy. Hello, gardening fans, and welcome to Marvin Gardens, April 2025. It is, in fact, the very last day of April 2025, so I'm just getting this in under the wire, and I'm totally behind schedule. But that's mostly in my own mind because we've been having a stretch of warmish days, 70s and 60s, and before that we would get the occasional 70, 60, then we'd get 30, 40, and it was just. I was in no mood for gardening stuff. But then all of a sudden it started, and of course all of a sudden I was totally behind on everything that I wanted to have done because I don't think we're going to see any more frost, any more freezes. So all of a sudden everything's due to get into the garden, the open garden. So excuse me, and if that weren't enough, now that the warm weather hits with consistency, I come down with some nasty spring bug or allergy or who knows what it is. So excuse me in advance for my voice and possibly the occasional coughing fit, but I'll try to keep it in control. Anyway, right this minute I'm in a pretty good mood because got a lot done today. Today was the first time I got on the tractor to do mowing on the wide open spaces around here. And things are at least progressing well, if not somewhat behind. So we might as well get started. And what better way to start than to look right down here at this handsome boy. What's going on there, Frankie? Showing everybody your e-collar? Frankie has an eye issue on his right eye, the left side as you look at it. So it's being treated with ointment, and he has to wear that e-collar so he doesn't scratch at it, hopefully. Or try to rub it in the dirt. So, again, sorry for the coughing. Vidina's cleaned out this section of the garden here, which is, as you might recall, the Asian leeks or garlic chives. And then we've got a bunch of pond irises growing down through most of the rest of the bed. We actually have some stuff happening in the greenhouse, a couple of seedling trays. That is celery, which we're trying again. We tried many years ago, and we thought we'd try that again. That's okra, and behind it is eggplant. And they're actually ready to go into the open garden. There's stuff inside under the lights too, and some of that is also pretty much ready to go in the garden. So almost everything is ready to go in the garden since we're not worrying about any more freezes around here. And here in bed one, that prominent row right there is daikon radishes. They're ready to be thinned, and if you look closely enough down here, you'll see there's some little grass-like thingies, and not to be confused with the weed-like thingies. And those two rows are two different varieties of carrots. One a more early carrot and one a later. And then I have a row reserved here for a second planting of daikon radishes. And I've got thistle weed problems. Um, they're pretty much controllable in this bed, but they're pretty ugly over in the asparagus patch. But I'm working on it. And then we got all kind of brassicas here. I'm not sure I can name them all off for you, but we got cauliflowers and broccolis and cabbage, green cabbage, and some red cabbage. We got some more of those coming in, and some Brussels sprouts. And this year I'm really trying to stagger my lettuce growth. So those are 3 varieties, only 3 plants each. And then I've got some others that are just starting in under the lights. So I'm hoping that by being patient and staggering the planting of them, that we'll have a better chance to use them all. Although we didn't do too badly last year. Now, the herb garden I've cleared out or widened a little bit, and that what looks like just a tangle of weeds is actually mostly garlic chives or Asian leeks. And then I've got a whole planting of new chives that I planted from seed in a flat and then transferred out here. They're doing, looks like pretty good. And this oregano, I think it's Greek oregano, wintered over and came up again, so I'm leaving that. Hopefully we'll get a chance to use it. And this is basil, which is coming along nicely. This vacancy right here is for parsley, which is in under the lights. You might have seen already. And that's common sage. So as per my usual, I'm going to have parsley, sage, rosemary, which is what those are, and thyme, which is what that is. Now, there used to be thyme underneath there. I couldn't find any when I was sort of just doing some preliminary weeding, so I might just till that under and plant something else back there instead. Maybe dill. I think I have dill on the list of this year's herbs. But that tells you what's going on in the herb garden. And then the pet memorial area, we got interested dachshunds looking out. It's not too overgrown right now, so that's kind of nice. All kind of pond irises coming up all over the place. And how'd you get in there, boy? How'd you get in there? Oh, you went through there. Okay. He's a sneaky boy. Anyway, that's, of course, Ranger. And he's having his way with the compost heap. Luckily, there's nothing that would be bad for dogs out there. And this, you might not recognize, is a new greenhouse. I talked about the old grow house, which I didn't think was substantial enough to even call a greenhouse. But I got tired of replacing it every year, as you might remember from last time. And so this is a work in progress, and it's a steel frame and polycarbonate panels greenhouse, and it's quite a project to put together. But I'm trying to be patient. I only need to have it up by the middle of May, when the winter squash is going to go in there. And I'll show you my work area when we get around to that. This actually, surprisingly enough, is a row of tomatoes. I'm not sure why this particular variety had me plant them so early, but I decided to just follow the seed packets and do what they said instead of just do my normal instincts. So They ended up coming way early, and since we got our warm snap here, I said, okay, well, let's get them in the ground because they're not going to do well staying in pots. The rest of this is just weeds that I have to get to. Now I've put up all the fencing around beds. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Over here is nothing planted, but on this end we've got a variety of flowers. We've got some lavender, some they're called sunball, and they're like a dried flower, but they're literally in the shape of a yellow ball. I thought Vanita might like those for the things that she makes. And then we've got some straw flowers here, which are a favorite of ours. And this just looked like some sort of volunteer brassica. I decided, well, I guess I'm not ready to get rid of that yet. Anyway, this is going to be where the corn is. This year we're just growing the honey buns. I think that's what they're called, honey buns or sugar buns. I can't remember which. But we're going to plant them fairly late, not until June. And the only reason for that is so that they stick around longer in the season for us to enjoy. Now, this bed is going to be all onions. The onions have arrived, but I haven't had the time to plant them yet, so they're holding in the fridge right now. However, I did start scallions from seed, and that's what all these little guys down here are. And also arrived earlier this month were leek plants, and that's what these guys are. And I'm pretty encouraged with the way that they're looking. These are cattails, which will need to be removed. They just keep spreading around here, and I love having this big old marsh here, but we can't really have, I don't think we want cattails growing in the garden proper, so that's that. Now, you know what? I'm going to just turn off the sprinkler out here, the deer deterrent sprinklers out here to the asparagus patch, because I do want to at least show you what's going on out there. Hey, Frankie boy. And hopefully if I have some dead space, I've got drone footage, which I haven't shot yet, that's for sure. So let's step out here, see if a sprinkler detects us and tries to shoo us away. And nobody did. All right. So this is the asparagus patch, and you may notice a few things about it. First of all, it's got new fencing all the way around. I've got both. Oh, see, it got me. Just when I stupidly least expected it. Let's see, did it get the lens wet? Hopefully that'll be okay. Anyway, you can see lots of asparagus coming up. I haven't harvested anything yet. I wanted it to get a good chance to get up. I also added this, plastic wrapped varmint wire fencing for the varmints other than deer. And the electric fencing, although it's not really effective against the deer, at least it's, you don't have any pressure. At least, what was I saying? I don't remember. Who cares? I don't. Anyway, so with the electric fencing up with flags on it, which should scare away the deer a little bit, and the deer deterrent motion activated sensors and the varmint fencing, all together, I think we're in pretty good shape for protecting the asparagus patch. And you might notice all those dug up spaces, and that's where I planted roughly 25 new asparagus crowns to kind of fill in where the asparagus has over the years failed to come up. I should be able to go in here in a few days and get a good 6-pack of harvest from the asparagus patch. But like I say, I wanted to give it, if we don't harvest this year very much, in hopes of having much more growth next year, then that would be fine with me. And so there's the asparagus patch. Oh, and I was talking about the thistles. They look terrible, and they are terrible. But I've found that if you spray them with architectural grade vinegar, that actually turns them gray and kills them. Unfortunately, there's so many of them out there that you kill a bunch of them and a bunch more just come back up. So the jury's out, but so far I have not pulled one. All I've done is sprayed them with I think it's 35% acid. Sorry, Frankie. 35% acid vinegar instead of what you find in the grocery store typically. What are you doing, boy? Which is 5%. This is the greenhouse construction area. As you can see, I've got the second arch pretty much fully constructed, and all these boxes contain the parts which I just cover up at night by putting the lids on. But we're not supposed to get much rain, and if we get any rain, it's not going to do much anyway to this stuff, so because it's all weather resistant. So it's just a bigger project than I kind of anticipated. There's the fire pit. Still haven't been out here for one yet, but that's mostly because we're just suddenly so behind in getting caught up to the weather with everything that needs to be done outside. Water features are the same, except for they're starting to green up. The ones that looks like that one on the left is going nowhere fast, but on the right looks like it's doing fine. Haven't put the pumps back in there yet. Here again, looks like pond irises on the right are doing pretty good, and that some kind of grass on the left is doing pretty good too. And the sunlight streaming in on the Japanese maple looks pretty nice, if I do say so myself. And we get lots of mints and succulents coming in up here, or down here, I should say. And all those little yellow blooms, which are typically April only, they're closing up because of the time of day, but they've been blooming like crazy and looking very nice. And I'm sneaking you out to the pond, which has been, I gotta admit, pretty much neglected with everything else that needs to be done. I did my initial vacuuming before, but it needs the final vacuuming, and everything just needs to be cleaned up and spruced up, and the filter needs to be back flushed. But I just noticed all these blooms on the azaleas. They look pretty nice. Let me see. Can you see one of those in focus? Who knows? I don't know. There we go. That should do it. So, all right, haven't had too many coughing fits, so that's not bad. The overflow water tub is filled with the pond irises that I took out of places in the garden where I didn't want them to grow anymore. And it looks like our, what you call it? Oh, never mind. I'll come back to that. I just can't remember the name. I've got a row of sunflowers planted off the deck here, courtesy of the fact that it looks like we're not going to have any more frost or freezing weather going forward. So I thought it was safe to put them out here. And the pear tree has already bloomed, although there are a few blooms left over, so I might as well see if you can enjoy those, except for the fact that with moving blooms, the camera is not really sure how to focus on them. So, and I can't see the view screen well enough to know if they were ever in focus or not, but if they weren't in focus, we probably cut to some drone footage. But if they were in focus, then maybe you got a shot of them. Sorry, coughing fit. Okay, this is the nectarine tree. Half of it, literally half of it, is gone, dead, not coming back. The other half, well, half of the other half did bloom and is having green growth. So we're going to leave it up and trim off the dead wood and see what happens. And the peach tree actually looks a lot better, although it is, because it's sitting next to this huge maple right here, it's sort of grown in this odd shape, kind of like a fan away from the maple so it can get some sunlight. That was not its fault, that's the gardener's fault. But at least it's more of it has survived than the what you call it, nectarine tree. But I'm not really too encouraged by my stone fruits. But then they've been tough all the way along. So who knows? I think that's all I have. Let me see if I can sit down here. And is Frank Ranger still in the compost heap? Yes, he is. Oh boy. I hope he doesn't get into something that makes him sick. Although he eats grass all day long and he doesn't throw up, so who knows? Alright, so let me see if I can magically set this down and turn it. Can I turn it? I should be able to turn it. There's something there. Let me scooch back just a little bit. So the sun is directly behind me. And I think I'm focused. Okay. Now, do you want to come up, boy? Mr. Blue Elizabethan collar, which I'd never seen one like this. They're much more, shall I say, dog user friendly than those plastic ones, because at least they're softer to the touch and they still perform the same purpose. But you know, like for him, he's so short, I have to fold it back in order for him to be able to walk around. Otherwise, he steps on the back of it. All right, so he's got a little boo-boo in his eye. That's what we're working on here. Ranger's working on the compost heap. I'm working on trying to get rid of this nasty thing, whatever I have. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I haven't got a fever or anything. But I'm not 100% sure how to tell the difference between a persistent allergy and just a cold with no fever. So it feels more like I'm sick. You know, you get that feeling. But you don't want to hear about any of that anyway. Any other news for the April garden video? I don't think so. I think the only pictures, still pictures I might have are of stuff under the lights. That's about it. You saw the asparagus coming up out there. It's really, some of that was harvestable, and it's as typical as the first harvest of the year. But we'll get some of those this week, I'm pretty sure. And hopefully my battle with the thistle plants will be relatively successful, and getting up all that fencing and getting the water deterrence up, sprinkler deterrence up early will help too. So maybe we'll finally get a pretty good asparagus harvest. Again, sorry for all my coughing and my voice and everything else. But we got a garden going here, lots of stuff in the ground, lots of stuff to do that's overdue, that I'm all stressed out about. Well, not that bad stressed, but you know how it is. You know, when stuff should be in the ground, you want it in the ground. And you can only do so much in one day, or a few hours, or whatever you have. So that's going to do it. This is Marvin Gardens, April 2025. Actually, April 30th. Tomorrow is May Day. And shortly after that is Cinco de Mayo. That's going to do it. Franklin's whining because he's ready to go inside. Ranger could stay out here all night in the compost heap, I'm sure. But I'm just rambling anyway, so my voice almost feels like it's starting to go too. So just in time, I'm going to say thanks for showing up for another Marvin Gardens video, and we'll see you next month in May, which usually is the busiest outdoor month at Sky Manor, but this month is right up there next to it, so it may be a little easier to get through May. Well, at least we'll probably get caught up in May. All right, we'll see you all later. Have a good one. Hope you're having a great spring. Bye.